Hey there, welcome. My name is Katie if you're new to my channel, and this is Louisiana Cooking and Living. If you are returning, we are so thankful that you are back watching with us. And today we're going to be making a peach cobbler. I have made this several times and people absolutely love it. This is a Paula Dean recipe and I will link it in the description box below. And this is the kind of peach cobbler that's more like the, I don't even know, it's not the biscuit type and it's not like a pie crust. It's more the fluffy dough cobbler part. I don't even know what you call that part. It's not the biscuit, it's not a pie crust. Anyway, so it's a very easy recipe, and I have some peaches that were in my freezer. My neighbor had gone to Alabama near the Georgia line, and she had brought these peaches to me last fall, and I cut them up, peeled them, put them in the freezer, and so we're going to use that today to make this peach cobbler. So let's just get started. So the first thing we're going to do in our pot is we're going to add 4 cups of peaches to this. 4 cups of peaches and our half a cup of water and a cup of sugar. So we're going to put that in our pot. I'm only going to put a half a cup of water because there was a lot of liquid from it being frozen. So I just did a half a cup of water then. We're going to bring this peach and soon to be syrup, it says, to a boil and let it simmer for 10 minutes. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit so we can get that going. And something that she doesn't call for in the recipe, but I'm going to do is I'm going to add a pinch of salt. I always like to add some salt to my sweet, but just a pinch, not much. I do have my oven preheating to 350 degrees. So she says in her notes, if you don't have fresh peaches, you can use the same process with frozen peaches, which was what I've used. They were fresh that we processed. Or you can skip this all together and use canned peaches. If you use the canned peaches, don't dump the syrup out. We're making this syrup here. This is going to be the syrup ends up being part of the batter for the cobbler part. So make sure you don't dump the syrup out if you're making it using canned peaches. All right, we'll come back whenever this has been boiling for 10 minutes because we've come to almost to a boil now. All right, it says in here that we need to put our butter, which was 1 stick of butter, into our baking dish. I'm using this 7x11 baking dish. Put the stick of butter in here, which I had already melted. I didn't realize or remember that we were doing this step. And put this dish in the oven to melt the butter and heat the dish while we're fixing up our batter. So I'm just gonna stick this in the oven real quick because we want the dish hot also. We just won't leave it in there as long. All right, so I'll put this in the oven. All right, to our bowl, we're gonna add 1.5 cups of flour. Let me go grab that real quick. The recipe actually calls for self-rising flour. I don't have self-rising flour, so I have a cup and a half of regular flour in here, and we're gonna turn this into self-rising flour. We are gonna add about 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. This is some baking powder I have found that has no aluminum in it, so you can find that aluminum-free baking powder. It's non-GMO. Actually, I may have ordered this one off of Amazon. If I did, I'll link it in the description box. And then we're going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So this is our self-rising flour mixture here. And then to this, we're going to add 1 cup of sugar. All right, and then we're going to add 1.5 cups of milk. All right, and she says, mix them slowly to prevent it from clumping, is what she says. The rest of our milk. All right, at this point you could put some cinnamon in here if you'd like. We do not prefer the cinnamon, so I'm not putting the cinnamon in here. All right, so I'm gonna get my pan out of the oven. All right, our butter is good and melted. Our pan is hot. It says we are going to remove the baking dish from the oven, pour the flour mixture over the melted butter. And then once we did that, we're going to spoon the fruit over the top and then gently pour the syrup onto the fruit. So you just kind of want to spread it out. You could do this with some apples, you could do it with cherries. There's so many different fruits, some maybe nectarines. I've never heard of a plum cobbler, but I bet you could do that. Strawberries, blackberries, berry season coming out right now. You could do blueberries. Now, of course, this is a Paula Dean recipe, so that's why you see all the butter in here. I'm guessing you could probably do less butter if you did not want to have so much butter in it. All right, so now I have the rest of my syrup here, and so I'm gonna pour this on the top. Do it very gently. And then we're gonna put this in the oven, and we are going to bake this for 30 to 45 minutes. The batter's gonna rise up on top of the peaches, and we'll be back. So it says 30 to 45 minutes, and I will let you know how long I'm making it for once it comes out, and we'll be back together. So here it is. This is Paula Dean's Southern Peach Cobbler, and this is gonna cool now. We are not gonna cut into it right now because this is for Memorial Day and my family coming over, and I don't wanna spoon into it right now. So the thumbnail, I will have a picture of it. And I hope you give this recipe a try. It is sweet, peachy, buttery, and I just hope you give this recipe a try. And it did take 30 minutes for this to bake to this color. And everybody's oven is different. And if you've got your oven preheated all the way, mine happened to be this time. I don't always do that. So I hope you give this recipe a try. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.